Humans and demons have been at war with each other for the last 15 years. The war has caused countless casualties on both sides, creating serious economic breakdowns to happen in countries stricken by war. However, among these countries, the central continent seems to be blooming with trade and prosperity, while the border kingdoms suffer from famines and war. To end the demons for once and for all, the central continent sent an expedition of the hero, Yuasha, and his party to the demon lord's castle to slay the demon king. Yuasha and his party marched towards the demon king with their full power, and after countless hours they finally reached the demon king's territory. However, Yuasha, who seemed to be in a hurry, rushed to the lord's castle all alone, leaving his party behind. Yuasha enters the demon lord's castle expecting there to be a giant demonic creature with giant horns and big vampire teeth. Instead, it turned out to be a cute yet endowed girl with small horns. Yuasha points his sword at the demon king as he asks her to surrender. The demon king comes near to him as she asks Yuasha to become her partner. Yuasha is dumbfounded by her statement and threatens to slay her, but the demon king doesn't budge as she tries to explain to him the reality of this so-called war between humans and demons. She explains to him that the war was created by the nobles and kings on both sides to create profits to enrich themselves. She explains to him the concept of how war generates profits for its profiteer. If she were to give a modern example, America would be on her #1 list as the biggest profiteer of the war business. She explains to him how the rich nobles live peacefully in the city walls while the commoners suffer from famines and wars. Yuasha isn't willing to accept all of this as it counters his worldview. However, the demon king, whose name is Mao, takes him to a room where she shows him her hospitality as well as an artifact that shows the truth to him. After learning the truth, they both join forces as partners as Yuasha learns that this Mao is a bit interesting as she is clearly in love with him. She tries her best to make her moves on him, but he manages to avoid them, which makes her pout in frustration. She tells him her dream of going to a place where no war exists, and there only exists peace and serenity. However, such a journey is hard and lonely, so she needs a soulmate to accompany her as she holds his hand. Yuasha has come to terms with her, so he willingly decides to become her partner too in this ambitious journey to end the ongoing war. Mao takes Yuasha to an ordinary farming village in a distant country. They had spent their last 2 months organizing their resources and making sure they were ready for their plan. After arriving at the village, Mao gives him a tour of the village as she explains to him how agriculture works. She tells him about different crops and their rotations and how to improve them. Before her innovation, farmers grew 3 crops in a year and left 1 quarter to make the soil fertile again, but with her model they can grow 4 crops in a specific order, which will boost the natural ecosystem and will boost the yearly yield. She also mentions to him the political situation of the village and how she has prepared a villa for them to live and stay at. After walking through the village for a while, they arrive at a luxurious villa where a maid welcomes them. Mao introduces the maid as her head maid and takes Yuasha inside to discuss further about their mission. After spending the whole day working and formulating, at night they both sit in front of the fireplace as they warm themselves. Mao notices Yuasha sitting on the floor below and asks him to come sit beside her on the couch. Yuasha accepts her request as he shyly sits beside her. Mao talks about how this whole work is tiring and how she read in a book that sleeping on a woman's lap lessens a man's fatigue. Yuasha understands her intention, so he just puts his head down on her lap as he enjoys the pillowy sensation. Mao is embarrassed, but she cares about his hair as the feelings inside her bubble cause her to put her face close to Yuasha as she leans even closer to kiss him. But a voice outside stops both of them as they rush outside and find the horses jumping up and down. Yuasha calms the horses as the head maid brings a lantern and shines at the stable. They find 2 girls, one young and one old, sitting together in the corner shivering from the cold. The head maid recognizes the girls to be slaves, or rather serfs, who have no right to decide their professions as they work only for the nobles. Yuasha is angry as he calls her out for calling them slaves and doesn't believe that such a disgusting practice exists. However, the Mao calms him down as she explains to him that serfs indeed exist and that most of them suffer at the hands of nobles. The head maid is about to report them to the authorities for escaping, but Yuasha stops her, to which Mao sighs as she orders the head maid to give some food and clothes to these girls. After washing themselves and changing into better clothes, the girls look much better as they gobble down the food. The head maid informs them that she will report them in the morning, to which the 2 girls start to cry and beg her to not do that. However, the head maid is strict as she calls them lowly bugs who refuse to have the courage to become humans. The girl understands her intentions as bows down on the floor and asks her to teach them how to become a human. The head maid nods as she tells them the etiquette to request something in human manners. She takes them in as maids as managing such a large manor on her own is very tough for her to do alone. Later, Mao teaches the noble kids at village how the war is affecting the world in basic economics, but they are too dumb and short-sighted to learn it. She gets aggravated as she sits alone on the stairs. Yuasha asks him about her problems as she explains that teaching kids is much harder than fighting battles. Later, they both walk outside as it starts to rain. Wearing their raincoats, they both walk towards their destination as Mao tells Yuasha about her progress and her secret weapon as she opens a mysterious chest before him. The scene cuts to both of them teleporting to another location as Mao tells him that they will play their next chess move here. They both head into the city as Mao asks Yuasha about his opinion of the light spirit. Yuasha remarks that he doesn't have any solid opinion on it as it's lying dormant and he never spoke with it. Hearing this, Mao heaves a sigh of relief as she mentions that it would have been a lot more difficult if it was vice versa. They make their way to the local church. The nun priestess there invites them in as she heads out to inform the head priestess. While they are waiting, Mao explains to Yuasha how the church's research science and agriculture to help humans in advance. Their goal today is related to that as after a short while, the head priestess arrives and greets them. Her eyes fall on Yuasha as she walks towards him, yelling at him for abandoning them. Yuasha realizes that it's the female knight of his party as she tries to apologize, but the female knight slaps him on the face. She starts to cry about how they were so afraid that something happened to him as he suddenly disappeared and was never heard from again. Yuasha makes some excuses that he got injured in the battle with the Demon King and was saved by Mao, who is a kind noble who took him in, and thus to repay his debt, he started to work as her guard. The female knight accepts his claims and forgives him. She also mentions to him that they received rewards from the kingdom, but she refused to take it. On the other hand, one of their teammates, the old man, took it. She also mentions that the female mage went alone to find him, but she disappeared too and no one heard from her again. Yuasha is ashamed of his actions and how he disappeared, leaving them all behind. But he regains his composure as he realizes that his current goal is much greater. Mao tells the female knight that they have something that can resolve the food crisis of the whole continent. She presents her with a mysterious chest with some potatoes inside it. She also asks the other priestess to bring the dish made of potatoes. The female knight tastes it and finds it quite tasty. Mao informs her that it's not only tasty but also very nutritious. Not only that, it also grows very fast, can be harvested thrice each year, and can be stored for up to a year in cold and dry environments. The female knight is flabbergasted by this information as it would solve the long-lasting issue of food in many kingdoms. Mao asks the female knight if she can promote it in local churches, to which she confidently promises that she will get it done. After completing their mission, they head to their villa where Mao complains about how they still haven't done anything the couple like and wants him to kiss her. Yuasha kisses her on the forehead and promises her that he will be back and do the rest later. The head maid and the other maids are helping Mao dress up as she will be soon meeting an important person to talk about their mission and ambitions. Mao asks her if there is any news of Yuasha, to which the head maid replies it's just as usual, letters of his achievement. Mao is disappointed as she wants him to come back, but her words aren't loud enough to reach Yuasha, who is hundreds of miles away from her. Later, the guests arrive as Mao greets them and wishes for their well-being. The guests are surprised to see such a beautiful noble. They didn't expect this at all. They all sit around the table to discuss their cooperation and their direction to head next. Mao presents them with a chest with corn inside. The guests haven't seen this before and ask what this is. Mao explains to them that it's corn, a crop that can be harvested once a year and can be grown in dry and hot locations without the need for much water. The guests are astonished as the central continent is filled with such lands and it can be a huge boon to the economy. Seeing their flabbergasted expressions, Mao is not surprised as she expected this. One of the guests asks Mao that once the plan is started they can do this on their own without her help. So what's the benefit for her? Saying this, he gives a hint to his subordinate as he adjusts his hat, signaling the assassins outside. However, Mao has already prepared for this as the mysterious ghost spirits surround them. Mao tells them that her end goal is to end the war without any side winning. Hearing this, the guests get angry as they talk about how they need to destroy demons and inform Mao that she is committing blasphemy against the church and the country. Mao tells them that for a merchant, the contract is more important than the church or war. Hearing this, the guest smiles and agrees to her condition. Mao is happy that everything went well and sees them out. At night, Mao is drowned in all of the paperwork as she cries to her head maid to give her some relief. She also asks her if Yuasha said anything new or that he will be coming back for the New Year festival. The maid replies that it's the same as ever. After helping them out, the head maid heads to a room where she pulls the Yuasha out of his hiding spot. She questions him as to why he doesn't want to spend time with Mao despite coming back to check on her every few days. Yuasha explains to her that it's not that he doesn't like Mao or anything, but it's just that there are certain things inside him, certain emotions that he doesn't know where to put. The maid informs Yuasha that he belongs to Mao and that his emotions and everything belong to her too. Later, the old man of the hero party is talking to the crown prince of the Winter Kingdom, who is worried about the naval war that the kingdom is planning against the demon. The old man tells him not to worry as it's not in their hands to do anything. In the village, the female knight has been training some students who ask for her permission to head to war. She tells them how war isn't about good and evil, it's about survival. After explaining to her students, she is sitting alone when one of the serf girls joins her and requests her to teach her how to fight. Seeing her speech of manner and etiquette, the female knight can't help but compare her to the head maid. The serf girl asks her to not do that as she doesn't know whether she is still worthy of being a human or an. The guests, or rather the trade alliance, is working hard on devising their routes to establish even better trade paths so they can spread the information and their goods all over the world. While one side is thinking of constructing trade paths, the other side, which is the Winter Kingdom, is preparing its soldiers to lead a naval army against the demons. The one leading them is a general from the central continent, but his manners of talk offend every human in the Winter Kingdom as he doesn't even consider them humans worthy of respect. In a distant demon city that was recently conquered by humans, a daylight kidnapping of a young demon girl is taking place when Yuasha comes in to save her. Yuasha rescues the girl and asks her about the conditions and is surprised to find despite suffering at the hands of the humans, she doesn't hate them and just wants the war to end without both sides suffering. Yuasha gives her the hope that he who is the sword of Mao will make a path in this world that leads to peace and prosperity. The Winter Kingdom naval forces head to the sea, but at night they are attacked by a sea monster which drowns all of them. In the kingdom, the lords are going crazy and don't know what to do. The central continent puppets wait for their master's command while the crown prince is getting tired of their bullshit as his father just died. He takes the kingship for himself and leaves. He exits the room and finds the old man outside who is worried about the crown prince's health, but he assures him that he is fine and that they need to do what they can. At the village, Mao tells the truth to the female knight that she is the demon king, but the female knight forgives her as she has confessed her sin of lying, and according to the Church of Light, she is forgiven. They both shake hands as they become good friends who are also rivals in love. Mao is lying on her bed all alone as she talks to the hero's body pillow about her resentment when Yuasha surprises her from behind. Instead of hugging or kissing him, Mao punches him for being a stupid bastard for leaving her all alone for an entire year. Yuasha apologizes to her, but the Mao is still not appeased as she continues to lash at him. However, they both stop when they hear the New Year festival's music. Yuasha takes Mao's hands as he requests her to dance with him. He dances with her and is about to kiss her in the heat of the moment, but the music stops as they both stop in their actions as well. Yuasha says his farewell to Mao as he prepares to fight for her sake as her ultimate sword. However, Mao calls him an idiot as he is her light in the darken. At the village, one of the maids asks Mao if the war is evil or good. Mao explains to her that there is no good or evil if there isn't any age gap between people. She explains that no one is born an adult and they have to grow up and learn to become a better person. The head maid enters the room and she informs her that everything is ready and that they can set out at any time. In a demon city conquered by humans, Yuasha is terrorizing the human faction using his magic and his companions, the little fairies. He asks one of his spirit companions to show nightmares to the lords and make them suffer. While Yuasha is helping demons, Mao is also helping humans in fighting against demons. The last attack by the Winter Kingdom failed due to the sea monster, so this time she came to their help as she used technology and her wits to create a floating ice bridge between the continent and the demonic island Aurora. Using the bridge, they managed to slay the sea and monster and sea demons. After calculating their losses, they are preparing their next moves when one of the soldiers announces that a huge army is approaching and the total count is over 9,000. Mao tells them that she planned to invite reinforcements. The Crown Prince, or now the Winter King, is excited as it's beneficial for them. The surprise doesn't end there as the Yuasha also comes for their help, which surprises the humans who haven't seen him since the past year or two. After consolidating their strength, the human army once again set out to conquer the demon general who resides at the Aurora Island. The Ice Demon King has also noticed their presence as he comes out to fight them. Yuasha is about to make a move when the female knight requests him to give her a chance. Using her superior battle techniques, she is easily able to slay the demon general. With this, the Aurora Island is conquered by humans for their use. The Winter King celebrates this joyous occasion as he announces the credit of this fight to Mao and the female knight. While everyone is celebrating, the old man meets up with Yuasha and asks how he is doing. They both talk about breasts like men of culture too, and the old man is impressed by Mao's well-endowed figure. He can't believe that they are real. Yuasha and the female knight are cleaning each other with the water from the well. Yuasha turns around and finds the female knight undressed and gets embarrassed, but she throws water at him and washes him if he's a dog. After getting dressed, they both sit on top of a fence overlooking the village as Yuasha talks about how the crops are growing and stuff. The female knight asks Yuasha if she can say something, which he allows as she is his friend. The female knight tells Yuasha that it's time for them to decide who will be the mistress and who will be the wife. Hearing this, Yuasha is dumbfounded and doesn't know how to answer. So he shifts the topic to war and how Mao told him that she can end it with strong artillery, but he doesn't want any side to win as it would create a massive imbalance, at least according to what he saw on his travels. So to achieve peace he needs to fight till the end, which is the only thing he is best at aside from rizzing different girls all over the world. Later, Yuasha enters the villa and is greeted by Mao, who makes him sit down as she combs his hair. She tells him about the progress and what he needs to do next as the scene shifts to the central continent, where the envoy who was sent to help the Winter Kingdom is punished for not achieving his goal, yet the broken down Winter Kingdom achieved it on their own. Mao and Yuasha, alongside the big sister maid, head to the Iron Country, where Mao shows him the latest invasion and their biggest weapon in solving the war. The weapon is none other than a printing press machine. With this, they can educate the people, and there is no better weapon than education in the world. Later at night, Yuasha is peacefully sleeping in the room when Mao and the female knight sneak towards his room and accidentally discover each other. They fight over the right to enter Yuasha's room but end up getting kicked by the handmaid. They both land inside the room with a loud noise which awakens Yuasha. They see this as an opportunity as they both take each one of his sides and start to exchange their body warmth with him. They end up sleeping in his bed while holding both of his hands. The next morning, Yuasha prepares to head onto his mission while Mao returns to the Demon Kingdom to do her stuff. They both shake hands as they bid farewell to each other. However, they don't know that a plot is being plowed by the envoy who has suffered due to the Winter Kingdom and the assistance that they got from Mao and the others. Later, Mao is waiting in the room when the merchant from the Trade Alliance enters the villa and greets her. His main quest of coming today was to propose to Mao for a wedding, but Yuasha appears out of thin air as he stops him in his steps. Mao apologizes to the merchant for not telling him earlier as she noticed his intentions. The merchant doesn't mind as the person she chose is none other than the hero whom he is quite well acquainted with. Yuasha tells Mao that this merchant is the same merchant who used his name to sell his goods. Yuasha teleports the trader and himself to an icy location to cool him off before taking him to a city where humans and demons live in peace and harmony. He takes him inside the city as they enjoy their delicacies and even meet with the locals. Demons and humans coexist as if war never happened. The merchant sees this completely new world and can't help but imagine the possibilities of living in such a world. Yuasha has shown him hope. A seed has been planted that only needs to germinate. While Yuasha and the merchant are chilling in the city, Mao heads to the ancient hall of the Demon King to finally face what she has been avoiding. The head maid opens the door as Mao walks inside with a confident stride. Later, Yuasha is standing in front of the villa when the female knight comes up to him and begs him to accept her as his loyal knight. Yuasha hesitates, but after she insists he swears her body, soul, and loyalty, he reluctantly accepts her. The female knight is happy that she can belong to him as there is no chance for her to win against the renowned Mao. In the central continent, the Church of Light declares the Mao to be heretic and declares the potato crop to be demonic and against the teachings of light. So the whole empire has placed an arrest on Mao. Winter King and the old man rush to Mao's villa to inform her, but they only find Yuasha and the others there. Yuasha remarks that they can't wait for 2 months as it is the time Mao will return, so they need another plan. He tells them that he will let the church arrest the big sister's maid and after that, he will rescue her. The Winter King apologizes to Yuasha for not being able to sacrifice himself, and the old man apologizes too for leaving him alone once again. The female knight requests him to take her with him, but Yuasha declines as he mentions that she has someplace that she needs to protect. The merchant learns of the church's decree and can't help but feel angry at them for doing it. However, he understands that it's their propaganda to keep the commoners in check. Their trade alliance has been going well, and they even invited a spokesperson from the Ice Kingdom. They all sit together as they talk about trade and money, which are the two things the merchants are best at. In a tower inside the Winter Kingdom, the maid sisters as well as Yuasha and the female knight are present as they once again revise their plan. The big sister's maid caresses the face of her little sister for one last time before leaving. Yuasha also teleports away from the location to go somewhere else. After a while, the messenger from the church arrives at the city square and he asks the Winter King to present Mao in front of them. Soon some soldiers bring up the big sister maid who is disguised as Mao in front of the messenger as he orders them to chain her. After being chained, he orders the soldiers to lash her as they forcefully make her stand before the populace before ordering them to stone her. However, the people are a bit hesitant as Mao's inventions have improved their lifestyle. The big sister maid uses this opportunity to tell her tale of how she was once a serf who had 2 siblings. One of them died at the hands of the nobles and only she escaped with her little sister. As a serf, she was nothing but an insect and she hated insects, so she wanted to become a human. To become a human, she gained power and started to improve her life and those surrounding it. Soon her goal became to free the people of this world from oppression by the light of the church, which holds them back from using the resources given to them by Mother Earth. The messenger from the church is getting cold feet listening to all of this, so he smacks her head and orders the people of the city to stone her, but the people are already moved by her words, so instead they throw the stones at the messenger, which causes him to get angry as he orders the Winter King to arrest them. However, the Winter King disobeys his orders and also frees the Mao as he declares that this kingdom will not bend its knees for the light of church of again. The messenger is angry as he warns them that they will suffer the wrath of the church as he hurriedly runs to escape. In the secret hall, we learn that Mao and Yuasha have been reincarnating for 1,000 years now, and in each lifetime they meet together but can't live peacefully. In the villa, all the important people of the Peace Alliance are sitting and discussing what to do next. Although the big sister maid's speech caused a lot of people to awaken their desire for freedom, the church is still a great danger looming over their heads. Yuasha is scratching his head as to what the church wants to accomplish. The female knight answers that the church desires wealth, power, and control over all living beings in the world. The big sister maid corrects her by saying that just having a large amount of wealth doesn't bring prosperity. That's why the church wants to create a power gap between the rich and the poor so they can continue to enjoy their lavish life. In the Trade Alliance, the merchant sees the paper developed by Mao and is shocked to learn that these can be mass-produced. Now the knowledge will be far easier to spread amongst the people. He also asks his subordinates about wheat prices, which have been increasing for a while. He orders them to continue buying them and stock up. This way the central continent will starve when the winter comes. In the Winter Kingdom, the local lords protest to the king that the wheat prices are going insanely high, and if the people continue to sell the wheat to the central continent, they will starve to death. So they implement heavy taxes on any wheat that will be exported to other countries. In the secret hall, Mao is lying down on the stone tablet with her eyes closed. The head maid who is standing outside remembers the time when Mao showed him the young picture of the hero when he was just born. She told him that one day he would grow up and will come to the Demon King's palace to slay her. But she will say hello to him and make him stay with her. She will caress his hair and maybe he will help her achieve the goal. She wanted to meet her fate, so she decided to do all of this. In the castle, Winter King learns of the news that the church will attack the southern nations who rebelled against their will. Yuasha is angry at them for not looking at the broad future and doesn't want to cause casualties on both sides, so he asks Winter King if there is any way to make the war halt for a while without any casualties. The Winter King answers that their only bet is winter snow, just as they all are preparing for the war. Winter King learns that an enormous army of azure demons is coming to attack them from behind. Yuasha promises him that he will take care of this as he rushes to the Aurora Island. After arriving there, he notices a massive fleet of azure demons, just when he is thinking of ideas on how to resolve it. The female mage of the hero party appears behind him and assures him that she will take care of this, and mentions that Mao is waiting for him and that he should destroy the teleportation portal and head to the demon realm. The female mage uses her teleportation formation magic to transport each of the demons from this territory to somewhere far away. Yuasha also destroys the teleportation formation with a large-scale destruction spell. The female mage urges him to head to the demon realm, which is underground, and rescue Mao. Mao exits the hall in the demon realm, but her aura is completely different. The head maid notices this and attacks her. Mao brutally attacks back and even severs one of her arms. The head maid fortunately manages to escape and seals her in the ancient hall by closing the doors. Yuasha also arrives at the demon realm and finds the energy there to be notoriously strong. He expects that Mao has gotten much stronger as he rushes in. After reaching the hall, he confronts Mao and manages to suppress her. Soon she comes back to normal as they both hug each other and unite. She then heals the head maid as they head to the demon realm core to give a speech to all demons. After a long speech, she asks Yuasha to display his power, which strengthens the demons' belief in Mao. While they both are stabilizing the situation in the demon realm, the winter snow comes and forces the central continent to retreat. But this hasn't stopped the church in its steps as they carefully plan their next move. They even ally with azure demons to make sure that the war will continue and that the church will always remain stable in the world. Mao, Yuasha, and the others sit around the table as they enjoy a warm dinner to celebrate their efforts in stopping war and stabilizing the situation of both worlds. After the celebration, the head maid notices that Mao is crying, to which she answers that despite this world being chaotic and evil, it's something she can't hate. It's because of this world that she met Yuasha, her beloved light. That's all for today. If you enjoyed our video, give us a like and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content.